Serena Vale threw my baby's stroller through the mansion gate and into the rain. My husband stood beside her under the stone portico and told me I was embarrassing his family. I held our 3-month-old son against my chest, looked at the mud splashed across his stroller, and took one photograph before I walked away. Nathan thought silence meant I had finally broken. He should have known better, because by midnight the house he had chosen her in would no longer belong to him. Serena Vale did not throw the stroller by accident. She put both manicured hands on the handle, smiled at me through the wrought iron gate, and shoved it hard enough that it tipped sideways before it hit the wet driveway. One wheel spun in the rain. The pale grey blanket I had tucked inside the storage basket slid out and landed in a puddle. For 1 second I could not breathe. My son Noah stirred against my shoulder. His cheek was warm from sleep, his tiny hand pressed against my collarbone, trusting me because he was too young to know that adults could be cruel for sport. The rain came down in sheets over the Whitmore mansion, turning the limestone steps slick and silver. Inside those gates stood the home Nathan had promised would be ours after Noah was born. The nursery I had painted myself was upstairs. My hospital bag was still in the closet. My nursing chair faced the garden, and at the gate my husband's mistress was laughing. "Maybe now she understands," Serena said. "This is not a shelter for abandoned wives." I looked past her at Nathan. He stood under the portico in a dark coat, one hand in his pocket, dry and untouched by the storm. His mother, Celeste, stood behind him with a glass of white wine as if she were watching a neighbor's dog misbehave. "Nathan," I said. My voice came out calm, too calm. He sighed as if I had inconvenienced him. "Evelyn, you should not have come here like this." "Like what?" "Emotional, dramatic, with the baby in the rain." I stared at him. "This is our house." Serena laughed again. "You mean his house?" That was the moment I understood. Not guessed, not feared, understood. Nathan had not simply cheated, he had moved Serena into the life I had been pushed out of. I had been at my postpartum checkup that afternoon. Noah had been fussy, so I went from the doctor's office to the mansion because his favorite pacifier was in the nursery. I texted Nathan twice. He did not answer. When the gate guard opened the side gate, Serena came out wearing my cream cashmere robe. My robe, she smelled like my shampoo. At first I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. Lack of sleep could do that. 3 months of broken nights, stitches, milk stains, soft crying, and Nathan's increasing distance had made the world feel blurred. Then Serena leaned down to look into Noah's stroller. "What a plain little thing," she said. "I suppose he takes after you." I told her to step away from my child. She told me I was trespassing. Then she threw the stroller into the rain. Now Nathan crossed the driveway slowly, not toward me but toward Serena. He put a hand on her lower back. "Evelyn," he said, "you need to apologize." The words landed colder than the rain. "For what?" "For making a scene at my family's home." Behind him, Celeste gave a tiny approving nod. I shifted Noah higher against my chest. My son was still half asleep. His eyelashes trembled. A drop of rain slid from my hair onto his blanket, and I turned my body to shield him. "She threw our son's stroller into the rain," I said. Nathan's jaw tightened. "It's a stroller." "It is Noah's stroller. It can be replaced." I looked at the man I had married 5 years ago. Nathan Whitmore had held my hand outside a courthouse and promised me we would build a life separate from his mother's rules and my father's money. He had said he loved that I did not need the Whitmore name. He had said my strength made him proud. After Noah was born, that pride turned into irritation. He hated the crying, hated the bottles on the counter, hated that my body did not snap back into its old shape, hated that I asked where he had been when he came home smelling like perfume. And now, in front of his mistress, he hated that I was still standing. Serena folded her arms. "Nathan, make her leave. Make her leave." The gate guard Mark stood by the security booth with his eyes lowered. He had worked for the Whitmore family for 12 years. He had opened that gate for me on my wedding day. He had helped carry flowers into the house when I hosted Celeste's birthday dinner. He had seen me come home from the hospital with Noah. He did not speak. No one spoke, so I did. "Mark," I said without looking away from Nathan, "please make sure the security footage from this gate is preserved." Serena's smile faded. Nathan's eyes narrowed. "What did you just say?" I pulled my phone from my coat pocket. My fingers were wet but steady. I took one photo of the stroller lying in the puddle, one photo of Serena in my robe, one photo of Nathan standing beside her. Then I opened the voice memo app and held the phone at my side. Nathan, I said, did you see Serena throw Noah's stroller into the rain? He took one step closer. Put the phone away. Answer me. This is exactly what I mean. You always escalate things. No, I said, I document them. Celeste's face hardened. Do not threaten this family. I am not threatening anyone. Serena pointed toward the street. Then leave. I looked at Nathan one last time. Are you asking your wife and your son to leave this house in the rain? His mouth twitched for a moment. I saw uncertainty, not remorse, calculation. Then he said, I am asking you to stop embarrassing me. That was his choice, not Serena's, not Celeste's, his. I bent carefully, keeping Noah secure with one arm, and picked up the soaked blanket from the puddle. I did not pick up the stroller. I left it where she had thrown it. There are moments in a woman's life when heartbreak becomes strangely quiet. Not peaceful, not painless, quiet, like something inside has stopped begging. I turned and walked toward my car. Nathan called after me, Evelyn. I did not turn. You are not taking my son anywhere. That made me stop. Slowly, I looked back over my shoulder. The rain ran down my face, but my voice was clear. Noah is not a possession you remember when another woman insults him. His face darkened. Serena slipped her hand through his arm. Let her go, she'll come crawling back by morning. I smiled then. It was small, tired, almost sad. No, I said, I won't. I buckled Noah into his car seat. My hands moved with the automatic precision of motherhood. Clip, tighten, check, blanket over his legs, another kiss on his forehead. Only when I was in the driver's seat, doors locked, engine on, did I let myself inhale. My phone buzzed before I pulled away. Nathan. I rejected the call. A second later, a text appeared. Do not make this uglier than it needs to be. I looked through the windshield at the mansion gates. For 3 years, I had tried to keep this marriage from becoming ugly. I had ignored late nights, smoothed over insults. Paid invoices. Nathan forgot to mention. Transferred money when Celeste said the family accounts were temporarily tight. Signed renovation approvals because Nathan said it would help the estate. Hosted dinners while bleeding through postpartum pads because appearances mattered. I had mistaken endurance for love. That ended at the gate. I opened my contacts and scrolled to a number I had not called in almost a year. Dad. My thumb hovered over the screen. Daniel Harper had warned me about the Whitmores. He had called Nathan charming, polished and hollow. I had called him controlling. We had said things we could not take back. After the wedding, we spoke only on holidays and through my younger brother. But when he answered, his voice changed the moment he heard mine. Evelyn. I looked at Noah in the rearview mirror. His eyes were open now, wide and dark, watching me. Dad, I said, I need a lawyer. There was no hesitation. Are you hurt? No. The baby. Cold but safe. A pause. What happened? I looked once more at the mansion. Serena had gone back inside. Nathan stood under the portico, phone in hand, furious that I was not answering. I said, Nathan chose another woman at the gate of his house. She threw Noah's stroller into the rain. My father's silence lasted only 3 seconds. Then he said, Where are you? I gave him the address of a hotel downtown. I am sending a car and Margot Reed, he said. Do not go back inside that house. Do not speak to Nathan without counsel. Do not delete anything. I won't. And Evelyn. Yes, his voice went colder than I had ever heard it. That mansion is leveraged through Whitmore Holdings, isn't it? My grip tightened on the steering wheel. I think so. Nathan mentioned refinancing last spring. Then drive to the hotel, he said. By midnight the house will not be theirs. The hotel room smelled like lemon cleaner and old carpet. It was not where I had imagined spending the night with my 3-month-old son. There was no crib, no rocking chair, no carefully folded muslin blankets in the drawer, just a queen bed, a narrow desk, and a view of traffic lights bleeding red and green against the wet window. But the door locked. No one could order me out. No one could put a mistress in my robe and call me dramatic. I laid Noah in the center of the bed on a clean towel and changed his damp onacy. His skin was warm, but not feverish. He made a soft, offended sound when I wiped rainwater from his hair. I know, I whispered. I hated tonight too. My hands shook only after he was dry. That made me angry, not because I shook, because I had waited until no one could see. For months, I had performed calm for people who did not deserve it. Calm when Nathan missed childbirth classes. Calm when Celeste told me a real Whitmore wife did not breastfeed in public. Calm when Serena started appearing in photos from places Nathan claimed were business trips. I had been so afraid of becoming the bitter wife that I became the silent one. My phone buzzed again. Nathan, where are you? Nathan, bring Noah home. Nathan, my mother is upset. I laughed once. It sounded strange in the small room. His mother was upset, not my son, whose stroller lay in a puddle, not me, standing in the rain while his mistress played house. His mother. Another message appeared. Nathan, you are unstable. Do not force me to take legal steps. There it was. The first threat. I took screenshots, then I opened our joint banking app. The Whitmore household account was familiar to me in the way a wound becomes familiar when it never closes. Mortgage contribution, staff salaries, Celeste's medical membership, landscaping, wine cellar maintenance, Nathan's club dues, donations under the Whitmore family name. My personal account had covered gaps for 2 years. At first, Nathan called them temporary loans, then marital support. Then, once Noah came, he stopped asking and simply expected the transfers to continue. I clicked on scheduled payments. Whitmore household account $18,000 monthly. Celeste Whitmore personal account $7,500 monthly. Whitmore Holdings emergency line $25,000. Quarterly. I stared at the numbers, then I cancelled every scheduled transfer one by one. Cancel, confirm, cancel, confirm, cancel, confirm. With each click, I felt less like I was taking revenge and more like I was removing my hand from a hot stove. My father called 20 minutes later. Are you in the room? Yes. Door locked? Yes. Good. Margot Reed is on her way. The name made me sit straighter. Margot was one of the best family attorneys in the state. I had met her once at a Harper Foundation event. She wore navy suits, spoke softly, and terrified men who confused volume with power. Dad, I said, I cannot let this become a public war. You have a child. It already became a war when he threatened custody. I closed my eyes. He said I was unstable. Of course he did. That is what weak men call women who stop obeying. My throat tightened. For years I had been angry at my father for not accepting Nathan. Tonight, his certainty felt like a hand under my elbow. About the house, I said, I made calls. Whitmore Holdings used the mansion as collateral against a private note 18 months ago. Payments are late. The lender has been looking for a clean exit. I sat frozen. Nathan told me the estate was secure. Nathan lied. Outside, a siren passed. Noah kicked under his blanket. What does buying the note mean? I asked. It means the debt comes under Harper control first. If they cannot cure the default, we control the path to ownership. The lender was ready to move. I pushed. Dad, I do not want you to fight my divorce for me. I am not fighting your divorce. I am buying a distressed real estate asset. Despite everything, I almost smiled. That sounds exactly like you. It also happens to be the house where a woman threw my grandson's stroller into the rain. The line went quiet. I looked at Noah. He had fallen asleep again, his tiny mouth relaxed. I should have called you earlier, I said. Yes, my father said. You should have. The honesty hurt, but not cruelly. Then he added, but you called. Tonight, that is what matters. A knock came at the door. I froze. Evelyn, my father said. Someone is here. Check the peephole. I carried the phone with me and looked. A woman in a camel coat stood in the hallway with a leather briefcase. Behind her was a hotel security guard. It's Margot, I said. Let her in. Keep me on speaker. Margot Reed entered like she had stepped out of a courtroom and into a storm she had expected. She was in her late 40s with silver-threaded black hair and calm eyes. Mrs. Whitmore, she said. Harper, I said before I could stop myself. Her expression did not change, but something like approval moved across her face. Ms. Harper then. That was the first time in years someone used my name, and it felt like a door opening. Margot sat at the desk and pulled out a yellow legal pad. I need a timeline, she said. Start with when you arrived at the mansion. I told her everything: the gate, the robe, the insult, the stroller, Nathan's words, Celeste watching, Mark at the booth, the photo, the voice memo, the texts. Margot took notes without interruption. When I finished, she held out her hand. May I see the photo? I gave her my phone. Her jaw tightened when she saw the stroller. This is useful, she said. Useful sounds ugly. Evidence often begins ugly. She sent the images to a secure folder and asked for the voice memo. Then she looked at Nathan's texts. He threatened legal action already, she said. Good, good. It shows his first instinct was control, not concern for the child's welfare. I looked down at Noah. Can he take him? Not tonight, tomorrow. We file for temporary custody and exclusive decision-making until a hearing. We will also request that any visitation be structured, given the gate incident and his failure to protect the child from exposure. The stroller was empty, I said. But the child was present. You were forced to shield him in unsafe weather while his father escalated the conflict. The pediatrician will document his condition. I nodded slowly. Margot's pen moved again. Do you have access to household financial records? Yes. Good. Pull everything: transfers, renovations, staff payments, any payments to Serena Vale or companies connected to her. She is an interior designer, I said, or claims to be. Then there may be invoices. A cold memory moved through me. Last spring, Nathan had asked me to sign approval for a redesign of the East Wing. He said Celeste wanted the rooms refreshed before a family anniversary. I had signed between feeding Noah and throwing up from pregnancy nausea. What if I signed something I did not read carefully? Margot looked at me. Then we look at it. We do not panic before we have paper. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Celeste. Margot nodded for me to answer and put it on speaker. I did. Celeste did not say hello. You have humiliated my son enough for one evening. I stared at the phone. Margot picked up her pen. Celeste continued. Whatever you think you saw, this is a private family matter. You will return tomorrow morning. Apologize to Serena for your behavior and stop this nonsense before society hears about it. My voice came out flat. Serena threw my son's stroller into the rain. Do not be vulgar. It was an object. It belonged to Noah. That child is a Whitmore. You would do well to remember that. Something inside me sharpened. No, I said. He is a baby. You would do well to remember that. There was a stunned silence. Then Celeste said, Nathan should never have married beneath his emotional standard. My father, still on speaker, spoke for the first time. Careful, Celeste. The silence that followed was worth every year I had spent swallowing insults. Celeste's voice changed. Daniel. Yes, this is not your concern. My daughter and grandson are my concern. Her breath caught. My father said, Speak to Evelyn again without counsel present and you will regret it in writing. The call ended. Margot looked at me. That was helpful too. I almost laughed again. Then my father said, Evelyn, the term sheet is signed. My pulse slowed. What does that mean? It means the lender accepted. Harper Capital controls the note effective immediately. The rest will move fast. I looked at the rain-streaked window across town. Nathan was still standing inside a mansion he believed proved I was powerless. By midnight, I asked. Before midnight, my father said, they just do not know it yet. I did not sleep. Noah did, in small restless stretches. His tiny body curled against my side. Every time he sighed, I opened my eyes. Every time my phone lit up, my stomach tightened before I reminded myself that fear was not an instruction. By 6:00 a.m., Nathan had sent 14 messages. You are overreacting. My mother is willing to forgive you if you apologize. Do not involve your father. Serena is crying because of what you did. Bring Noah home. I saved them all. At 7:15, Margot returned with coffee, a portable scanner, and a court filing draft already half complete. My father sent a car with a properly installed infant seat and a driver who did not ask questions. By 8:00, I was in a private conference room at Harper Capital for the first time in 3 years. The building had not changed. White marble lobby, quiet elevators, fresh flowers arranged with expensive restraint. My father's world had always been controlled, polished, and strategic. At 26, I had run from it toward Nathan because I thought love should feel warmer than legacy. Now, sitting under glass walls with my sleeping son beside me, I saw the difference between control and safety. My father entered with 2 attorneys and a folder thick enough to make my chest tighten. He stopped when he saw Noah. For a moment, Daniel Harper was not the man people feared across negotiating tables. He was a grandfather seeing his grandson after too many months of pride and distance. May I? He asked. I nodded. He touched Noah's tiny foot through the blanket with one finger, as if asking permission from the baby too. He looks like you, he said. Nathan says he looks like a Whitmore. My father's face hardened. Nathan says many things that are not true. One attorney slid documents across the table. Here is where we are, she said. Whitmore Holdings pledged the mansion property as collateral against a private bridge loan. They missed 2 payments. The lender had the right to accelerate. Harper Capital purchased the note last night. I scanned the page, numbers, dates, default notices. Nathan had hidden all of it. The mansion had not been secure, it had been bleeding. What happens next? I asked. Official notice goes out today. The attorney said, they will have a short cure period, but based on their cash position, they will not be able to cure without outside funds. Harper can proceed through the agreed collateral process. Given the lender's existing rights and the condition of default, control will transfer quickly. Can they fight it? They can try. It will expose their finances. My father sat across from me. This is your decision, he said. I bought the note. Because speed mattered. What we do with it now depends on you. I looked at him carefully. Do not make me into someone who destroys people because I am hurt. I would never have to. You are not that person. I want safety for Noah. I want the truth on record. I want a divorce. I want what I paid into that family accounted for. I want Serena out of my robe and out of my son's nursery. Reasonable, Margot said. My father gave one nod. Then that is what we pursue. My phone rang. Nathan this time. Margot gestured for me to answer. I put it on speaker. Evelyn. Nathan snapped. Where the hell are you? With counsel. A pause. What? Do not call me unless it concerns Noah and can be put in writing. He laughed once, sharp and disbelieving. You got a lawyer because Serena moved a stroller. Because you chose your mistress over your child in front of witnesses. Do not use that word. Mistress. Serena is not the problem here. No, I said. You are. The room went silent. Nathan's voice dropped. You need to think carefully if you turn this into a custody fight. I will make sure everyone knows you abandoned the marital home. I left after your girlfriend threw our son's property into the rain and you told me to apologize. You cannot prove that. I looked at Margot. She raised one eyebrow. I said, are you sure? Nathan did not answer right away. Then he said, my mother wants a family meeting tonight. No, that was not a request. It is now a declined invitation. You will come to the house. I looked at the folder in front of me at the default notice at the name Whitmore printed over debt it could not pay. No, Nathan, I will come to the property when my lawyer tells me it is useful. What does that mean? It means you should check your mail. I ended the call before he could reply. My father almost smiled. Margot did not. She was already typing. Do not get too theatrical, she said. Tempting but unnecessary. I know. Good, we win by being boring and precise. Boring and precise became my armor. That afternoon I took Noah to Dr. Lena Brooks, his pediatrician. She examined him, documented mild exposure, noted my report of the incident, and asked if I felt safe at home. The question nearly broke me, not because it was dramatic, because it was routine, a box on a form, a question women were asked when the world had already failed them quietly. No, I said, I do not. She looked at me with professional gentleness. Then I will write that down. After the appointment I sat in the car and opened my email archives. Search Serena Vale at first. Nothing. Then I searched Vale Design. 3 results appeared. 1 invoice $4.42,000, 1 $4.68,500, 1 $4.113,000, all paid through an account I had funded. The project name East Wing Refresh. My hands went numb. The East Wing was where Nathan had moved Serena. I had paid for the rooms where my husband slept with his mistress. For a full minute, I did nothing. I did not cry. I did not scream. I watched traffic move past the windshield and felt something hard settle inside me. Then I forwarded every invoice to Margot. Her reply came quickly, keep going. So I did. I found jewelry receipts hidden under client gifts, hotel bills marked as development meetings, a lease deposit for an apartment in Serena's name, a wire transfer from a Whitmore account 2 days before my baby shower. The betrayal had not begun with a kiss, it had begun with accounting. That evening, a courier delivered a formal notice to the Whitmore mansion. Nathan called 6 times after that. I answered none. At 9:40 p.m. he texted, "What did you do?" I looked at Noah, sleeping peacefully in the portable bassinet my father had sent. Then another message arrived, "My mother is hysterical. Serena says you are trying to ruin us." I typed one sentence, "No, Nathan, I am done funding you." I did not send it. Instead I deleted it and sent nothing. Because silence, when chosen freely, is not weakness, it is a locked door. Near midnight, Margot forwarded the final confirmation packet. Harper Capital had full control of the note. The Whitmore mansion was no longer a symbol of Nathan's power, it was collateral under my father's hand, and soon under mine to decide. A minute later, Nathan texted again, "You will apologize to Serena tomorrow." I looked at the screen until it dimmed, then I finally sent my first message. Preserve all household security footage from yesterday between 4:00 p.m. and 6:00 p.m. Deleting or altering footage may have legal consequences. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then Nathan replied, "You stupid woman, I saved that too." I returned to the mansion 2 days later with a lawyer, a property inspector, and a sleeping baby. Not because Nathan summoned me, because Harper Capital had scheduled an exterior and interior collateral inspection under the terms of the defaulted loan. That difference mattered. When the black car turned onto the long private drive, my chest tightened despite everything. The Whitmore mansion rose ahead, all pale stone and cold windows, beautiful in the way some cages are beautiful. I had once stood in its foyer in a white dress while Nathan whispered that I belonged there. Now the gate opened for me because the debt did. Mark stood at the booth, his face was pale when he saw me. He stepped out into the mist. "Mrs. Whitmore," he said, then corrected himself, "Ms. Harper." That small correction nearly undid me. "Mark, I am sorry," he said quietly. I looked at him, he swallowed. "For the other night I should have said something." "Yes," I said, "you should have." He lowered his eyes, then he said, "I saved the footage." The air shifted. My lawyer, Margot, turned slightly. Mark glanced toward the mansion. "The system overwrites after 7 days unless manually archived. Mr. Whitmore told me to pull the clip and send it to him. I made a copy before I did." "Why?" I asked. "Because the stroller was for the baby," he said, "and because she laughed." For a moment I could not speak. Margot handed him a card. "Call me today, do not send anything to anyone else." He nodded. The front door opened before we reached the steps. Celeste Whitmore stood there in pearls, navy silk, and fury. Behind her, Serena leaned against the banister in a white sweater I recognized because it was mine. Nathan stood beside the fireplace with a drink in his hand, as if staging authority might create it. "Evelyn," Celeste said, "this is inappropriate." I adjusted Noah's blanket. "Good morning." "Do not good morning me, you bring strangers into this house now." Margot stepped forward. "Margot Reed, counsel for Ms. Harper. This is Mr. Alvarez, property inspector." Retained by the note holder. Nathan frowned. "Note holder." Serena gave a brittle laugh. "What is this performance?" I looked at her. "You are wearing my sweater." Her cheeks flushed. Nathan put down his glass. "Evelyn, enough." I did not answer him. The inspector opened his tablet. "We are here to document property condition under the collateral access provision." Celeste's face changed. She understood money language faster than moral language. "What note holder?" she demanded. Margot handed Nathan a packet. He opened it with visible irritation, then he stopped moving. Celeste snatched the first page from him. Serena leaned over her shoulder. The room went very quiet. Nathan looked at me. "You involved your father." "No," I said. "You involved lenders when you pledged the house and defaulted." Serena blinked. "Defaulted?" Celeste turned on her. "Be quiet." That told me Serena had not known. Good. Nathan stepped closer. "This is a family matter." "It was a family matter when your mistress threw our son's stroller into the rain." Serena's mouth tightened. "I already told you, I barely touched it." I looked at Mark, who had followed us inside and stood near the doorway. He looked back at me. I said nothing. Nathan saw the glance and his face hardened. "You are not using staff against us." Margot's voice cut in. "We are using witnesses, Mr. Whitmore." Celeste gripped the papers. "This house has been in our family for generations." "Then your family should have paid its debt," I said. Her eyes flashed. "You arrogant girl. Once that would have stung." I used to want Celeste to love me. I hosted her friends, remembered her medications, ordered her favorite tea, and let her correct how I held my own baby because I thought patience could turn contempt into acceptance. Now I saw the truth. She had never wanted a daughter-in-law, she had wanted a quiet asset. The inspector began photographing the foyer. Serena moved quickly toward the stairs. "You cannot go up there." Margot looked at her. "Why not?" "Because those are private rooms. The entire property is subject to inspection," Margot said. Nathan's voice sharpened. No one is going into the East Wing. I turned toward him. The East Wing, the invoices in my inbox burned through my mind. That is exactly where we will start. I said. For a second no one moved, then Noah woke and began to fuss. The sound cut through the room. My son's tiny cry filled the foyer that had rejected him 2 nights before. Serena winced. Can you make him stop? I looked at her. Nathan whispered, Serena, but it was too late. Margot heard it, Mark heard it, the inspector heard it. Celeste closed her eyes. I smiled without warmth. He is a baby, I said, not background noise. I carried Noah upstairs myself. The East Wing had changed completely. The pale guest rooms had been turned into a blush and gold suite with velvet chairs, mirrored trays, perfume bottles, and framed photos of Serena. One photo showed her and Nathan on a beach. The date stamp was 8 weeks after Noah was born. Another showed them at a hotel in Aspen. The week Nathan said he had to visit a failing supplier. I stood in the doorway and felt the last soft thread between us snap. Serena rushed past me, snatching the frames. Those are personal. So was my marriage. Nathan said my name, not sharply this time, almost warning, almost pleading. I ignored him. The inspector photographed everything: closet built-ins, new wallpaper, marble bathroom fixtures, custom lighting, all paid through invoices I had funded. Margot murmured, document the art too. Serena spun toward Nathan. You said she did not care about money. I looked at him. He had told her that. Of course he had. Men like Nathan always need their mistresses to believe the wife is cold, greedy, unstable, or already gone. It makes the theft feel romantic. Nathan's face reddened. This is not the time. No, I said. The time was before you used my money to decorate her room. Celeste inhaled sharply. Serena stared at him. Her money? Nathan did not answer. That was answer enough. Downstairs, Celeste tried one final tactic. Evelyn, she said, voice softening into something almost maternal. You are tired, you have a new baby. This is a painful misunderstanding, but divorce will harm Noah. A boy needs his family name. I looked at my son. He had fallen asleep again, one tiny fist tucked under his chin. A boy needs adults who do not use his name to excuse cruelty. Celeste's softness vanished. You think your father's money makes you powerful? No, I said. My decision not to protect your lies does. Nathan followed me to the door. Evelyn, wait. I paused on the threshold. Behind him, Serena stood halfway down the stairs, no longer smug. Celeste clutched the notice like it had personally betrayed her. Nathan lowered his voice. Come home, we can discuss terms. I looked past him at the wet driveway. The stroller was gone. You had Noah's stroller removed. Of course, it looked terrible. I almost admired the clarity of it. Not because it was right, because it revealed everything. You removed the evidence from the driveway, I said, not the woman who threw it. His jaw clenched. Do you understand how bad this will look for you? I asked. He leaned closer. Do you understand how lonely you will be if you keep going? There it was, the old weapon, fear. I stepped outside. Lonely was standing in the rain with my son while my husband protected another woman. I walked down the steps. This time, Mark opened the gate before I reached it. As I passed the booth, he said quietly, Ms. Harper. I turned. I will call your lawyer today. Thank you. Behind me, Nathan shouted my name, but the gate was already closing. Dr. Lena Brooks did not dramatize what had happened. That made her record more powerful. She checked Noah's lungs, his temperature, his skin, his breathing. She asked how long he had been exposed to the rain, whether he had been dressed for weather, whether I had access to safe housing, and whether anyone had threatened to take him from me. I answered everything. When I said Nathan had told me I was not taking his son anywhere, Dr. Brooks stopped writing for half a second, then she continued. Do you feel he may use custody to pressure you? She asked. Yes. Has he been the primary caregiver? No. Does he know Noah's feeding schedule? I looked down at my hands. No. His pediatric medications? No. His safe sleep routine? No. The shame came suddenly, though it did not belong to me. I had told myself Nathan would become more involved once work slowed down, once Noah slept more, once I asked in the right tone, once Celeste stopped interfering, once Serena disappeared from the edges of our life. I had built excuses like scaffolding around a collapsing building. Dr. Brooks looked at me kindly. Ms. Harper, documenting facts is not an attack, it is protection. I nodded. Protection. That became my word for the next week. Not revenge, not punishment, protection. Margot filed for temporary custody the next morning. The petition included the gate incident, Nathan's texts, the medical record, and a request to prevent either parent from removing Noah from the state without written agreement. Nathan responded through a lawyer named Peter Lang, who sent a letter full of polished lies. Mrs. Whitmore left the marital residence voluntarily. Mrs. Whitmore has shown signs of postpartum instability. Mr. Whitmore has serious concerns regarding the child's welfare. I read the letter 3 times, then I placed it flat on the table and took a photo of Noah sleeping in the bassinet beside me. Signs of postpartum instability. That was what they called a mother leaving the rain. Margot was not surprised. This is standard, she said. Ugly but standard. How do we answer? With records. We spent the afternoon building a timeline. My OB discharge papers, Noah's birth certificate, pediatric appointments attended by me alone, pharmacy pickups, lactation consultant bills, grocery deliveries, night nurse invoices from the first 2 weeks, paid by my account after Nathan refused because he said women have handled babies forever. Then the financial records. Margot's assistant created columns: household expenses paid by Evelyn, personal expenses paid by Evelyn, Whitmore family obligations paid by Evelyn, payments connected to Serena Vale. The last column grew fastest: the apartment lease deposit, jewelry, travel, design invoices, a private chef for a client dinner on a weekend. Nathan said he was at a board retreat, spa charges, a luxury baby boutique purchase that made me stop breathing for a moment. A baby boutique. Serena had no child. The receipt listed a cashmere infant blanket. I remembered asking Nathan why he had come home with a shopping bag from that store. He said it was a gift for a colleague. I had believed him because I was too tired not to. Margot watched my face. Do you need a break? No, Evelyn, no, I repeated. I need to know what my marriage cost me. So we kept going. That evening, my father came by the apartment he had arranged for me. It was not one of his penthouses. I had refused that immediately. It was a quiet furnished rental near the pediatric inn, with 2 bedrooms and a secure lobby. Safe but not a statement. He brought soup, diapers, and a small stuffed elephant. I did not know what babies like, he said. They like being dry fed and not used in power games. He looked at me for a long moment. That sounds like something your mother would have said. My mother had died when I was 19. Some grief stays under the floorboards of a life. You forget it is there until someone steps in the right place. I took the elephant. She would have hated Nathan. She would have seen him faster than I did. I was angry at you for seeing him at all. I know. He sat across from me as Noah slept in my arms. I should not have made you choose between being loved and being warned, he said. My throat tightened. You did not make me choose. I chose badly. You chose hopefully. There is a difference. For the first time since the gate, I cried, not loudly, not dramatically, just tears slipping down while Noah breathed against my chest and my father sat close enough to help but far enough not to crowd me. After a while he said, the House process is moving. Their counsel requested a meeting. Good. Do you want me in the room? I wiped my face. No, he nodded, accepting it. Then I will wait outside. That was how he loved when he got it right. The next morning, Mark met Margot in a parking lot 2 blocks from the courthouse and gave her a flash drive. I was not there, Margot told me afterward, because she did not want Nathan accusing me of intimidating staff. The footage was clear. Serena at the gate, her hand on the stroller, her face bright with contempt, the shove, the fall, Nathan watching, me standing in the rain with Noah, Nathan telling me to apologize. The audio was imperfect but usable. My stomach twisted when Margot played it for me in her office. Watching yourself be humiliated is different from living it. Living it, your body protects you with adrenaline. Watching it, you see the full shape of what others allowed on screen. Serena laughed after the stroller hit the driveway. That laugh changed everything. It made the act impossible to soften. Margot paused the video. This will matter. Can Nathan claim it was edited? He can claim the moon is made of glass. It will not help. I almost smiled. Then her assistant entered with a new folder. We found something, she said. Margot opened it and went still. What? She turned the page toward me. It was a legal authorization form from 7 months earlier when I was in my 3rd trimester. My signature appeared at the bottom, giving Nathan authority to approve certain household and estate-related expenditures from a marital reserve account. I remembered signing a limited payment authorization for nursery renovations and staff payroll while I was on bed rest, but this document was broader, much broader. That is not what I signed, I said. Margot's eyes sharpened. You are certain? Yes, I signed one page, not this, and my signature. I leaned closer. It looks close, but the E is wrong. Margot closed the folder. Then we have a new issue. What kind of issue? Potential fraud. My phone buzzed. A message from Nathan. Court is unnecessary. Come to dinner tonight. Bring Noah. We can settle this privately. I looked at the forged signature, then at the video still of Serena laughing in the rain. I typed back one sentence. All communication through counsel. This time I sent it. Money leaves a trail even when love does not. That was the first thing Margot said when we began tracing the accounts. At the time I thought she meant bank statements, invoice numbers, merchant codes, and wire confirmations. By the end of the week, I understood she meant something more painful. Money showed priorities. Nathan had missed Noah's 2-month pediatric appointment because of a board emergency. That same afternoon, he had paid for Serena's facial at a hotel spa. Nathan had told me the Whitmore family could not reimburse me for Celeste's medical concierge fee because liquidity was tight the day before. He had wired a deposit for Serena's beach rental. Nathan had complained that the night nurse was an unnecessary luxury. He had spent more than double that amount on a bracelet Serena wore in one of her photos. Every line item answered a question I had once been afraid to ask. Where were you with her? Why were you distant? Because I was useful, not desired. Why did you get angry when I asked about money? Because you were spending mine. I sat at Margot's conference table with a highlighter in my hand and marked every transaction connected to Serena, yellow for confirmed, pink for suspected, blue for household expenses I had covered while Nathan diverted funds elsewhere. By noon, the pages looked like a bruise. Margot's forensic accountant Elise tapped one document. This one matters, she said. The East Wing refresh contract, Vale Design Build Whitmore Holdings, but payment came from a reserve account funded primarily by you. Can we prove that? Yes, the account inflow is traceable. Your transfers came in on the 1st, the payments went out on the 3rd. I looked at the invoice again. Custom headboard, Italian linens, built-in vanity, silk wall panels. I thought about Serena standing in my sweater, guarding that room. She knew, I said. Elise did not soften it. At minimum, she knew the payments came through family accounts, and Nathan knew I funded those accounts. Yes, that word landed cleanly, no room for excuses. Later that day, Margot arranged a video call with Peter Lang, Nathan's attorney. Nathan insisted on attending. I attended from Margot's office, Noah with my father in the next room. Nathan appeared on screen in his home office, the one with law books he never read and a portrait of his grandfather behind him. Peter sat beside him, expression tight. He looked like a man already regretting his client. Margot began. Ms. Harper is prepared to discuss temporary parenting arrangements, financial disclosures, and preservation of evidence. Nathan leaned toward the camera. Evelyn, this is absurd. You are letting your father turn a marital disagreement into a hostile takeover. I folded my hands. This is not a marital disagreement. Serena made a mistake. Serena assaulted my son's property and you defended her. Property cannot be assaulted. He snapped. No, I said. But a court can understand cruelty. Peter cleared his throat. Let us keep this productive. Margot slid into her calmest voice. We require full disclosure of all payments made to or for the benefit of Serena Vale Design and any related entity. Nathan laughed. Absolutely not. Peter's face tightened. Margot continued. We also require production of the original signed authorization dated March 18th. Nathan's expression changed. Barely. But I knew him. I had watched that face lie about hotel receipts, late nights, and lipstick on a collar. His anger always arrived fast when fear came first. What authorization? He asked. Margot smiled politely. The one you relied on to approve expanded expenditures from the marital reserve. Peter turned to him. Nathan. Nathan looked away from the camera. I will have to check. I leaned forward. No, you won't. His eyes snapped back to me. I was 7 months pregnant on March 18th, I said. I was on bed rest. You brought me one page to sign for nursery payroll and household staffing. You stood next to the bed and said I was paranoid when I tried to read it. His mouth opened. I continued. The document your office produced has 4 pages. I did not sign those terms. Peter went still. Nathan's voice dropped. Be careful, No, you are accusing me of a crime. I am stating facts about my signature. Margot added. We will have the document examined. Peter muted his side. Nathan's face twisted before the screen went silent. I sat back, my heart pounded, but my hands did not shake. 5 minutes later, Peter unmuted. My client will review the records and respond through counsel. Your client will also preserve all originals. Margot said. The call ended. I exhaled. Margot looked at me. Well done. I wanted to scream. But you did not. Does that matter? It matters more than you think. That night, Serena posted a photo on Instagram, a soft focus shot of the Whitmore mansion staircase. Her hand rested on the banister. The caption read, "Some women leave because they cannot handle grace, others stay because they belong." I stared at it. Then I took a screenshot. Within 10 minutes, comments appeared. So elegant, you deserve happiness. Some people are just bitter. I knew what she was doing. She was building a public version of the story before mine reached court. In her version, she was the graceful woman. I was unstable. Nathan was trapped in a bad marriage. Noah was invisible. I sent the screenshot to Margot. Her reply came back, excellent, defamation folder. I set the phone down and looked at Noah asleep under the stuffed elephant my father had brought. You will never be invisible to me, I whispered. The next morning I received a call from an unknown number. This is Mark Ellis, the voice said, from the gate. Mark, I am sorry to bother you. Mrs. Whitmore knows I copied the footage. My body went cold. What happened? Mr. Whitmore fired me. I closed my eyes. I am sorry, he said. I betrayed the family. You told the truth. Yes, that is why I am calling. There is more. I sat up. What do you mean? The night before you came to the gate, Ms. Vale arrived with moving boxes. Mr. Whitmore told the staff she would be staying in the East Wing indefinitely. Mrs. Whitmore told us not to mention it to you because you were fragile after the baby. Fragile, there was that word again. Not betrayed, not deceived, fragile. Can you put that in a statement? I asked. Yes, his voice lowered. And there is another camera inside the portico. It has audio. I stopped breathing. Does Nathan know? No, Mark said. It was installed after the package thefts last year. The family forgot about it. I closed my eyes. Finally, a witness the Whitmores had not trained, bought, or intimidated. Mark, I said, call Margot now. The Whitmore Foundation Gala was supposed to be Nathan's rescue. He needed donors, he needed sympathy, he needed the old families in one room, smiling under chandeliers, pretending debt was strategy and scandal was rumor. So he brought Serena. Of course he did. He walked into the ballroom with her hand tucked through his arm, her emerald dress cut low, her smile polished for cameras. She wore the bracelet from the receipt I had highlighted in yellow. My money glittered on her wrist. For a moment, the room shifted around them. Whispers moved like wind through tall grass. Is that Serena Vale? Where is Evelyn? I heard she left with the baby. Postpartum episode apparently. I stood near the side entrance listening. Margot had advised me not to attend unless I could remain calm. My father had advised me not to attend unless I had a purpose. I had both. The Harper Foundation had been listed as a major sponsor for the gala, though no one had asked whether I still approved. For years, Nathan used my family name quietly, carefully, never too loudly, because he did not want people to know how much he needed it. Tonight, I decided accuracy mattered. I wore a black dress, simple and high-necked, no wedding ring, no dramatic jewelry. My hair was pinned back. My father walked in beside me, not ahead of me. The whispers changed instantly. Nathan saw us from across the room. His face went pale, then angry. Serena followed his gaze. Her smile froze. Celeste reached them first, gripping Nathan's arm. I could read her lips. What is she doing here? I almost smiled. For once, I was not the one being asked to explain. The event chair, Mrs. Alden, rushed toward my father with relief so visible it was almost embarrassing. Daniel, we are so honored you could come. My father looked at me. I stepped forward. Mrs. Alden, I need to clarify something before the program begins. Her smile faltered. Of course, the Harper Foundation will not be funding tonight's pledge. The blood drained from her face. Celeste appeared beside us as if summoned by money. Evelyn, she said tightly, this is neither the time nor place. I turned to her. It is exactly the place. The foundation's name is on the donor wall. Nathan approached, Serena at his side. "Do not do this," he said under his breath. I looked at him. "Do what? Correct a false representation." Serena lifted her chin. "This is pathetic." I glanced at her bracelet. "So is wearing jewelry bought through another woman's household account, but here we are." Her face flushed. Nathan grabbed my elbow. The room went still. My father moved one step. Nathan released me immediately. I did not rub my arm. I did not step back. "Touch me again," I said softly. "And this becomes simpler." Nathan's jaw worked. "You are trying to destroy my family." "No, I am refusing to finance it." The gala chair looked like she might faint. Margot, who had entered quietly behind us, handed Mrs. Alden a formal letter, notice of sponsor withdrawal and request for correction of promotional materials. She said, "Also given pending financial questions involving Whitmore Holdings, we advise the Foundation Board to conduct an independent review before accepting funds represented as restricted charitable contributions." That sentence did more damage than shouting ever could. Several board members moved closer. Celeste's face turned stone white. "How dare you?" I finally looked at her fully. "I dared after your guest threw my baby's stroller into the rain and you called it vulgar to mention." Someone gasped. Serena snapped, "That is not what happened." Margot opened her tablet. "Would you like to repeat that?" Nathan looked at the tablet and knew not all of it but enough. "Serena," he said sharply, "stop talking." "Too late," Mrs. Alden whispered. "What stroller?" I did not answer. I had not come to turn my son's humiliation into entertainment, but I would not protect the people who caused it. I said, "My attorney will provide relevant documentation to the proper parties tonight. I am here only to make clear that Harper money will not be used to polish Whitmore lies." The silence that followed was exquisite. Then my father spoke. "The Harper Foundation remains committed to the Children's Hospital. We will donate directly to the hospital tomorrow morning, in the full amount originally discussed, without routing funds through the Whitmore Foundation." Mrs. Alden clutched the letter. The board members began whispering again, but this time the tone had changed. Nathan heard it too. He leaned close. "Evelyn, please." That was the first please. It did not move me. Serena stepped back from him, small but visible. I saw the moment she understood. Nathan was not a prince choosing her over a dull wife. He was a man standing on debt, scandal, and another woman's money. "You told me she was cut off," Serena whispered. Nathan turned on her. "Not now. You said her father hated her." Celeste hissed. "Serena." The room was watching them now. I almost felt sorry for Serena, almost. Then I remembered the stroller hitting the rain. No, some women make mistakes. Some women see a baby and still choose cruelty. Serena had chosen. The gala program began 20 minutes late. Nathan tried to salvage it. He stood at the podium and spoke about legacy, family, and responsibility. His voice was smooth, but his hands shook. I stood near the back with Margot when he said, "The Whitmore name has always meant protection." I turned and walked out. The cameras caught it, so did half the room outside. The cold air felt clean. My father followed me. "Are you all right?" "No," he nodded. "Are you glad you came?" I looked back through the glass doors. Inside, Nathan was still speaking, still performing, still pretending he had not lost control of the room. "Yes." My phone buzzed. Margot looked at hers too. She read first, then she smiled. "What?" I asked. "The economic crimes investigator assigned to the document issue wants a meeting." I looked at the ballroom, at Serena standing alone near the bar, at Nathan gripping the podium, at Celeste trying to smile while donors avoided her eyes. For years I had feared public embarrassment. Tonight I learned something important. The truth is only embarrassing to the people who built their lives on lies. Family court did not look like revenge. It looked like beige walls, tired parents, vending machines, and women holding folders with both hands because paper was the only thing keeping their lives from being misread. I arrived early with Margot. Noah stayed with my father in a private waiting room approved by the court. Nathan arrived 20 minutes later in a navy suit, clean shaven, carrying a leather folder and wearing his wedding ring. The sight of it almost made me laugh. He had not worn that ring consistently for months. Now in court, he displayed it like evidence. Serena was not with him. Celeste was. She sat behind him, spine straight, mouth thin, as if posture could still command the world. When Nathan saw me, his expression softened into something rehearsed. "Evelyn," he said, "we do not have to do this." I looked at the ring on his finger. "You should have remembered that." At the gate, his face tightened. Peter Lang pulled him away before he could answer. The hearing began with temporary custody. Not divorce, not money, Noah. That focus helped me breathe. Peter spoke first. He painted Nathan as a concerned father blindsided by my emotional departure from the marital home. He mentioned postpartum stress 3 times. He said Nathan wanted generous access, shared decision-making, and immediate return of the child to the family residence. Then Margot stood. She did not call Nathan a monster. She did not call Serena a homewrecker. She did not call Celeste cruel. She used dates. On April 3rd, the child attended a pediatric appointment. The mother was present, the father was not. A document entered the record. On April 10th, the child received vaccinations. The mother was present, the father was not. Another document. On May 2nd, the mother requested reimbursement for a night nurse. The father declined in writing. Email. On May 15th, the father spent the night away from the marital residence and later represented it as a business obligation. Hotel record. Peter objected. Margot calmly redirected. Then came the gate. The courtroom screen lowered. Nathan's face changed before the video even played. I watched the judge instead of the screen. Serena appeared at the gate. I appeared with Noah. The stroller moved, fell, the blanket hit the puddle. Nathan stood under shelter. My voice came through faintly. Did you see Serena throw Noah's stroller into the rain? Then Nathan's voice. Put the phone away. The judge's expression did not change. That made it worse for Nathan. The second camera had audio, clear audio. Serena's voice filled the courtroom. Maybe now she understands. This is not a shelter for abandoned wives. My hands closed around each other under the table. Then Nathan. You need to apologize. Celeste stared straight ahead. Peter looked like a man whose case had just caught fire. The clip ended. No one spoke. Margot said. The child was present. The mother left the scene to protect him. The father did not intervene, did not check on the child's condition, and later threatened legal action when the mother sought safety. Peter rose slowly. Your Honor, the stroller was empty. The judge looked at him. Counsel, that is not the defense you think it is. I breathed for the first time in what felt like minutes. Margot submitted Dr. Brooks's medical record next, then Nathan's texts, then Mark's statement. Peter tried to argue that I had involved my father to punish Nathan financially. Margot answered with one sentence. The financial issues are separate from the child's immediate safety, but Mr. Whitmore's attempt to characterize Ms. Harper as unstable began within hours of his failure to protect the child from a hostile adult. The judge asked Nathan directly, did you tell your wife she needed to apologize to Ms. Vale after the stroller incident? Nathan swallowed. It was a tense moment. That was not my question. He glanced at Peter. Peter could not help him. Yes, Nathan said. And what is Ms. Vale's relationship to you? Silence. Celeste closed her eyes. Nathan said, she is a close friend. Margot played Serena's gala whisper from a hallway recording I had not known she had. Not the whole thing, just enough. You told me she was cut off. The judge looked at Nathan. Close friend, she repeated. Nathan flushed. By the end of the hearing, the temporary order was clear. I received primary physical custody. Nathan received supervised visitation twice a week at a family center until further order. Neither of us could remove Noah from the state. All communication had to go through a parenting app. Nathan was prohibited from bringing Noah into contact with Serena Vale pending review. Celeste made a small sound behind him. Nathan turned around, furious. But the order was already spoken. Outside the courtroom, he caught up with me near the elevators. For once, his anger was stripped of polish. Are you happy now? I looked at him. No. Then why are you doing this? Because happy is not the goal, safe is. His face twisted. You are keeping my son from me. I am keeping our son from the woman you allowed to humiliate him and from the version of you who thought that was acceptable. You know I would never hurt Noah. I looked at him for a long time. Nathan, you already taught me that you can stand close enough to harm and call it distance. He flinched for the first time. Pain moved across his face in a way that looked real. Evelyn, he said softly. I made mistakes. I waited. He did not say Serena's name. He did not say Stroller. He did not say Rain. He did not say I failed our child, so I stepped into the elevator. He put a hand against the door. I miss my family. I looked at his wedding ring. You miss being believed. The doors closed between us. The second time I stood at the Whitmore mansion gate, the sky was clear. That felt almost unfair. Some scenes should keep their weather. The first night had been rain, humiliation, and mud. This morning was clean blue, bright enough to reveal every crack in the stone driveway. I arrived with Margot, a property agent, 2 uniformed officers, and a locksmith. Noah was not with me. I had learned that protection sometimes meant not bringing your child to the battlefield just because he was the reason you fought. The cure period had expired. Whitmore Holdings had failed to pay. Harper Capital had completed the transfer process through the collateral agreement faster than Nathan expected because Nathan had spent too much time threatening me and not enough time reading his loan documents. The mansion was no longer his legally, it belonged to a Harper-controlled entity practically. Today was the day everyone inside learned what that meant. Mark was gone from the gate, fired for telling the truth. A temporary guard opened after reviewing the paperwork. He did not know the history. That helped. He treated us like any other lawful party with proper authority. Celeste came out first. She wore grey. I had never seen her wear grey. Celeste believed in navy, ivory, and deep jewel tones. Grey was for people who did not expect to be photographed. What is the meaning of this? She demanded. Margot handed her the notice. Celeste did not take it. The property agent said, "We are here to secure possession of the property. This is my home." It was collateral on a defaulted obligation. Her eyes cut to me. "You did this?" "No," I said. "Nathan did this when he borrowed against it. I only stopped paying for the illusion." The front door opened again. Serena appeared barefoot in silk pajamas, holding a coffee cup. I looked at her and felt nothing hot, not rage, not jealousy, just clarity. She had wanted to be the woman inside the mansion. Now she was for another hour maybe. "What is going on?" she asked. Celeste turned on her. "Go upstairs." Serena ignored her and looked at Nathan, who had just appeared behind them. "Nathan." Nathan's eyes were on me. "You cannot evict my mother." "I am not evicting your mother," I said. "The owner is taking possession of the property. There is a difference. You sound like your father." "Thank you." He recoiled as if I had struck him a month ago. That insult might have made me defend myself. Now I accepted the inheritance of competence. The officers explained the process. Personal belongings would be packed under supervision. Certain fixtures and property assets were not to be removed. The East Wing would be documented for damage. The staff had already been notified and paid through the transition. Celeste began to tremble, not with sadness, with disbelief that rules could apply to her. "This house is Whitmore history," she said. I looked up at the windows. "I know, I spent years preserving it while you reminded me I did not belong here." Her mouth tightened. "You never did." "No," I said, "I belonged to myself. That was what bothered you." Serena tried a different approach. "Evelyn," she said, softer now, "this has gone too far." I almost admired her timing. "You threw my baby's stroller into the rain." Her lips pressed together. "I was upset. At a baby. At you." And he was close. "Enough." Nathan stepped between us. "Enough." I looked at him. "Move." He did not. For one brief second, I saw the man he had pretended to be when we first met. Handsome, certain, built from old manners and expensive schools. A man trained to expect rooms to rearrange around him. Then one of the officers said, "Sir, step aside." And Nathan moved. That was the moment the mansion changed hands in my heart. Not when the papers were signed, not when the lender accepted the offer, when Nathan Whitmore, who once told me I would be lonely without him, stepped aside because someone with authority told him he had to. Inside, the house smelled different. Serena's candles covered the old cedar and lemon polish. Boxes lined the East Wing hall. Clothes spilled over chairs. The nursery door was closed. I opened it myself. The room was exactly as I had left it and completely wrong. The pale blue curtains, the white crib, the moon-shaped mobile, the rocking chair where I had nursed Noah during his first week home. On the dresser sat a vase of Serena's roses. I walked over and removed it. Underneath was a faint ring of water on the wood. I had chosen that dresser with my mother in mind. Soft edges, warm finish, something that could grow with a child. Margot stood in the doorway. "You do not have to do this part today." "Yes," I said, "I do." I opened drawers. Half of Noah's clothes were gone, not packed, gone. His hospital bracelet, which I had kept in a small memory box, was missing. My breath caught. Nathan appeared behind. "Margot, what did you do with Noah's memory box?" He frowned. "I do not know." I turned to Serena. Her face shifted before she controlled it. "Where is it?" I asked. "I have no idea." I walked past her into the east wing. Serena followed. You cannot just search my things. Your things are on property you no longer have a right to occupy, Margot added. And if Ms. Harper's personal items or the child's keepsakes were removed, that is another issue. In Serena's room, the memory box sat on a vanity under a stack of magazines. I picked it up slowly. Inside were Noah's hospital bracelet, his first hat, and a small card with his footprints. For a moment, the room disappeared. That box was not expensive, it was not useful, it had no legal value. That was why taking it was unforgivable. I looked at Serena. Why? She crossed her arms, but her voice shook. Nathan said you were sentimental about stupid things. I thought if you came back for it, he could talk to you. Nathan looked at her. Serena, I turned to him. You used my son's first footprints as bait. He did not answer. There are silences that confess more than words. I closed the box and handed it to Margot. Add it to the inventory. Serena began crying then, not because she was sorry, because consequences had finally reached her side of the gate. By sunset, the Whitmores were out, not homeless. Nathan had a townhouse under a corporate lease. Celeste had friends with guest houses and enough jewelry to survive embarrassment. Serena left in a rideshare with 6 garment bags and no audience. I stayed. After everyone else had gone, the mansion was quiet, too quiet. I stood at the front door and looked down the driveway at the gate. That was where I had left with Noah in the rain. That was where I had stopped being Nathan's wife in my heart. My phone buzzed. Nathan this time. I answered because Margot was beside me and the call recorded through the app. His voice was ragged. I will never sign the divorce papers. I looked at the empty portico. You will? No, you want war. Fine, I will drag this out for years. No, Nathan, you will run out of money first. His breathing changed. Is that a threat? No, it is accounting. Mediation took place in a conference room with frosted glass walls and a table long enough to keep people from lunging at one another. Nathan sat across from me, Peter Lang beside him. Celeste was not allowed in the room. Serena was not invited. My father waited outside by my choice, not because Nathan deserved the comfort of his absence, but because I did not need anyone mistaking my backbone for borrowed steel. Margot placed 3 folders in front of her: custody, financials, fraud. Nathan stared at the third folder. That is unnecessary, Peter said quickly. Margot smiled. Then it should be easy to resolve. The mediator, a retired judge named Helen Morris, looked at both sides over reading glasses. We are here to discuss settlement. I expect candor. Nathan leaned back. I want my family restored. I almost pitied the mediator. She had probably heard that sentence from many men who meant control restored, comfort restored, reputation restored, not family. I said, I want a divorce, a permanent custody arrangement, repayment of traceable funds, and a written agreement preventing Serena Vale from contact with Noah. Nathan's expression hardened. You do not get to dictate my personal life. No, I get to protect my child, our child. Then act like it. Peter touched Nathan's sleeve. The mediator began with custody. Nathan wanted unsupervised overnights within 30 days, Margot said. No, we offered gradual supervised visitation with parenting classes, proof of infant care training, and a review in 90 days. Nathan laughed. Parenting classes, I am his father. Margot opened the first folder. Can you state Noah's pediatrician's name? Nathan's face went blank for half a second. I looked down. Not because I was embarrassed for him, because I refused to help. He recovered. Dr. Brooks. First name. Silence. Margot continued. What formula is kept as backup in case Ms. Harper cannot pump? Nathan's jaw tightened. That is not a fair question. The mediator wrote something down. We moved on. Financials were worse. Nathan denied misusing funds. Margot presented charts, household account deposits from me, payments to Vale Design, transfers to Serena's apartment, travel expenses, jewelry, spa, East Wing furnishings. Peter's face grew more strained with every page. Some of these were business development expenses. Nathan said. I looked at him. Was the bracelet business development? He said. Nothing. Was the cashmere infant blanket? His eyes flicked up. There it was, a small transaction, but it bothered him. Who was that for? I asked. Peter intervened. My client will not answer speculative questions. Margot marked the page. We will reserve that for discovery. The mediator looked tired already. Then came the authorization. Margot placed the original limited authorization I had found in my old email next to the 4-page version Nathan had produced. My client signed this 1-page document, she said. Mr. Whitmore's records contain this 4-page document, which purports to expand authorization significantly. We have engaged a handwriting expert. Preliminary review suggests the signature page was transferred or reproduced. Peter closed his eyes briefly. Nathan's face flushed dark red. This is insane, he said. Evelyn signed what I gave her. I signed 1 page while on bed rest. I said, you told me it was for nursery payroll. It was your responsibility to read. It was your responsibility not to replace pages. The room went dead quiet. The mediator removed her glasses. Mr. Lang, she said, I strongly suggest you speak with your client privately. Peter requested a break. Nathan stood so fast his chair scraped as he passed me. He whispered, you are destroying everything. I looked straight ahead. No, I said, I am naming what you built. During the break I went to the restroom and stood at the sink, hands braced on marble. For the first time all day my body reacted. My knees weakened, my chest tightened. I looked at myself in the mirror and saw the woman from the gate. Wet hair, rain on skin, baby against chest. Then I saw the woman in front of me, dry-eyed, prepared, unwilling to bend. I whispered, keep going. When I returned, Nathan was different, not softer, cornered. Peter spoke for him. My client is prepared to consider financial reimbursement without admission of wrongdoing. Margot did not blink. Amount. Peter named a number so insulting even the mediator looked annoyed. I leaned forward. Nathan. He looked at me. Do you remember our first apartment? Confusion crossed his face. What? The one before the mansion, the one with the broken dishwasher. You used to say we were happiest there because everything was ours. His expression shifted despite himself. I remember. I paid the deposit, I paid the rent when your family account froze, I bought the bed, I bought the dishes, I paid your bar dues the year you said your mother was temporarily illiquid. I did not keep score because I thought we were building a life. His mouth tightened. Then I had our son. And while I was bleeding and learning how to keep a newborn alive, you used the life I funded to move another woman into my home. He looked away. No, I said, look at me. Slowly he did. I am not asking for generosity. I am asking for records to stop lying. The mediator let the silence sit. Then Margot slid over our settlement demand, repayment of traceable personal funds used for Serena's benefit. Equalization of marital assets, permanent parenting plan. No contact between Serena and Noah, no disparagement, cooperation with the property transition, withdrawal of false claims regarding my mental stability. Nathan read the document. You want me to admit I lied. I want you to stop benefiting from the lie. His phone buzzed on the table. He ignored it. It buzzed again. Peter glanced down. Nathan, he said quietly, you should look. Nathan did. His face changed. What is it? The mediator asked Peter. Took the phone from him, read, and went pale. Margot's phone buzzed too. She opened the message, then looked at me. Serena Vale's attorney just contacted us. I frowned. Her attorney. Margot's eyes were sharp. She is offering cooperation. She says Nathan instructed her to provoke you at the gate because he wanted evidence that you were unstable. For a second, all sound left the room. Then I looked at Nathan. He did not deny it. Serena did not cooperate because she grew a conscience. She cooperated because Nathan ran out of money faster than he ran out of lies. Her attorney sent documents the next morning, screenshots, voice messages, emails, a photo of a handwritten note Nathan had left in the East Wing. The messages were ugly in their simplicity. She is emotional after the baby. If she shows up, let her lose control. Do not worry about the stroller, it will make her look unstable if she reacts. My mother agrees Evelyn needs to be pushed into leaving. Serena had replied with heart emojis. Then, after the gate incident, she recorded us. Nathan's response, delete anything you have, I will handle the house staff. I sat in Margot's office and read the messages twice. I thought I had reached the bottom of the betrayal. I had not. There was always another room below. Nathan had not merely failed to stop Serena, he had helped set the stage. He wanted me to break in public, he wanted me to scream, shove Serena, threaten someone, anything he could turn into a custody weapon. Instead, I took a photograph. Margot watched me carefully. Do you want a moment? No. You are allowed to need one. I know I will need many, but not before we finish. She nodded. Serena's cooperation agreement was limited. She wanted release from potential civil claims in exchange for testimony and records. Margot did not promise that. She promised only that truthful cooperation would be considered. That afternoon, Serena came to give a recorded statement. She looked smaller without the mansion behind her. No emerald dress, no silk robe, just a beige coat, tired makeup, and fear. When she entered the conference room, I did not stand. Her eyes flicked to mine, then away. Evelyn, she said. No, she swallowed. I wanted to say I am sorry. I looked at Margot. Margot said nothing. Serena twisted her hands. Nathan told me your marriage was over. He said you refused to accept it. He said you used Noah to control him. I waited, she continued. He said if you acted unstable, he could get custody and the divorce would be cleaner. My fingers went cold. Cleaner, I repeated. Serena flinched. He told me not to hurt the baby. I leaned forward. You threw his stroller into the rain. He was not in it. He was there. Her eyes filled with tears. I did not care. I was jealous. She whispered, of the baby, of the house, of you, of me. He kept saying you were nothing without your father, but he was obsessed with whether your father would come back. Every time your name appeared on a bank transfer, he got tense. Every time you called, he left the room. I thought if you were gone, he would finally choose me completely. I looked at her for a long moment. And did he? Her mouth trembled. No, of course not. Men like Nathan do not choose women, they choose mirrors. Serena had reflected his ego until the glass cracked. Her statement gave Margot enough to strengthen everything: custody, defamation, financial misconduct, the fraud inquiry. Nathan's world shrank quickly after that. The Whitmore Foundation board suspended him pending review. Donors redirected funds after my father made the hospital donation directly. Peter Lang withdrew from representing him in the financial matter, citing conflict concerns. Celeste stopped calling me and began calling old friends who suddenly traveled too often to host her. Nathan hired a louder lawyer. Louder did not mean better. At the next hearing, the judge reviewed Serena's messages and extended the supervised visitation order. Nathan was ordered to complete a parenting course, a psychological evaluation related to coercive conduct, and full financial disclosure. The court also barred him from discussing the litigation publicly or through third parties. He looked at me across the courtroom with hatred so bare it almost felt honest. I did not look away. After the hearing, reporters waited outside because the gala whispers had become society news. I had avoided comment until then, but Nathan made the mistake of stopping. This is a private family matter, he said into a microphone. My wife is being influenced by outside forces during a vulnerable time. The phrase vulnerable time had barely left his mouth when Margot stepped forward. Ms. Harper will not litigate her child's safety in the press, she said. However, any suggestion that she is unstable, manipulated, or acting from anything other than documented concern is false. The court has reviewed evidence. Temporary orders are public record. Then she guided me past him. A reporter asked, Mrs. Whitmore, do you want reconciliation? I stopped. Nathan turned. For years I had answered questions in ways that protected him, smiled through discomfort, redirected, softened, absorbed. Not this time. I faced the reporter. No, I said, I want a safe life for my son and a legal end to my marriage. That clip went everywhere, not because I cried, not because I attacked him, because I did not. The final settlement came 3 weeks later. Nathan signed after the forensic report concluded the authorization documents were likely manipulated, and after Serena's records showed intent to provoke me. Criminal exposure made him practical. I received primary custody, with Nathan's visitation supervised until review. He agreed to no contact between Noah and Serena. He repaid a substantial portion of traceable funds through sale of personal assets and his remaining interest in a family investment vehicle. He withdrew all claims regarding my mental health. He signed a non-disparagement agreement with penalties sharp enough to make even Celeste quiet. The divorce itself took longer, but the marriage was over in every way that mattered. On the day Nathan signed the final settlement agreement, he asked to speak with me alone. Margot said, No, I said. 5 minutes, glass room, door open. He entered looking older, not ruined. Men like Nathan rarely ruin completely, they simply become less protected by charm. Evelyn, he said, I did not think it would go this far. I almost laughed. That is because you never thought I would. He looked down. I was angry after Noah was born. At a baby. At losing you. No, I said, you were. Angry that I was no longer arranging myself around you. He flinched. Serena was a mistake. Serena was a choice you repeated. I know, you don't, but it no longer matters. His eyes reddened. I miss him. That was the only sentence that touched me, not enough to bend, enough to hurt. Then become the kind of father a court does not have to supervise. He nodded quickly. I will, I swear, and maybe someday you and I. No, he stopped. I kept my voice gentle because cruelty was not freedom. There is no someday for us, Evelyn. You planned to make me look unstable so you could take my baby. His face crumpled. I panicked. No, I panicked at the gate. I still protected Noah. You calculated. That was the line between us. He had no answer. When I left the room he did not follow. The mansion gate looked smaller in sunlight. For months it had lived in my memory as iron and rain, a black shape closing against me while my son's stroller lay in a puddle. But on the morning I returned with Noah, spring had softened the driveway, the trees were green, the stone lions on either side of the entrance looked less like guards and more like props from a life I no longer wanted to perform. Noah sat in his new stroller, dry and warm, kicking one foot under a blue blanket. I had chosen the stroller myself, not because Serena ruined the old one, though she had, not because I needed a symbol, though maybe I did. I chose it because it was sturdy, safe, and easy for me to fold with one hand. That was what mattered now, things that worked, things that protected, things that did not require me to beg. My father stood beside me, hands in his coat pockets. You are sure? He asked. I looked through the open gate. The mansion had been cleaned, the east wing stripped, the nursery packed and moved to my apartment. The memory box sat on my bedside table now, not in a room where people used love as bait. I am sure Harper Capital could have sold the mansion immediately. Several buyers had already expressed interest. Old houses attract old money, and scandal only lowers the price for people who believe they are above it. But I had asked for time, not to move back in, never that. I wanted the property transferred into a trust for Noah, then leased for a women's legal aid residency program the Harper Foundation was building with Margot, temporary housing, legal clinics, financial counseling, a quiet place for women who needed a locked door and someone to say, keep the records. The room where Serena had slept would become offices, the dining room where Celeste had demanded apologies would host custody workshops, the gate where I had stood in the rain would open for women leaving worse nights than mine. My father had approved the plan without changing a word. You know, he said, this is not the most profitable use of the property. I smiled. I learned from you that profit is not always the point. He gave me a look. I am certain I never taught that. No, Mom did. His face softened. We walked up the driveway together. Halfway to the house, a car pulled in behind us. I knew before I turned. Nathan stepped out alone. He looked thinner, his suit was less perfect. His eyes went immediately to Noah. Did Margot know you were coming? I asked. No. Then you should leave. I just want to talk. We have an app for parenting communication. This is not about the app. Then it is not appropriate. His mouth tightened, then loosened. He was trying. I could see the effort, the new parenting class language, the court-ordered restraint, the awareness that anger had become expensive. I saw the announcement, he said, about the legal aid program. I waited. You're really turning my family home into that. There it was, my family home still. It is Noah's trust property, I said. And yes, his eyes flicked to the mansion. My grandmother planted those roses. I know, we are keeping the garden. My father died in that upstairs room. I know. We are making that floor private offices, not bedrooms. He looked at me then. Do you hate me that much? The question was almost innocent in its selfishness. No, he blinked. I do not hate you enough to organize my life around you. That hurt him more than hatred would have. He looked at Noah again. Can I see him? Your scheduled visitation is tomorrow at the center. 5 minutes. No, Evelyn, please. I put one hand on the stroller handle at the gate months ago. Please had not existed for me. Only commands: apologize, leave, bring Noah home, do not involve your father now, please. Arrived too late, dressed as remorse. No, I said again. Boundaries do not become cruelty because you dislike them. He swallowed. I am trying. Good, keep trying where the court told you to try. He looked past me at my father, then back. I loved you. I believed he believed that. That was the saddest part. You loved the version of me who paid, forgave, explained, hosted, softened, and stayed. His eyes filled. I did love you. I nodded. Then you should have protected me when it mattered. The wind moved through the trees. Noah made a happy sound and grabbed at the toy clipped to his stroller. The sound was small, bright, and completely uninterested in adult regret. Nathan wiped his face quickly, embarrassed by his own tears. What happens now? He asked. For you, I don't know. And for you? I looked through the open front door of the mansion. Workers moved inside, carrying boxes of legal books instead of silk bedding. A woman from the foundation stood in the foyer discussing security upgrades. Margot was already there, sleeves rolled, arguing with a contractor about privacy locks. For me, I said. Life. Nathan gave a broken laugh. That simple. No, that hard. He nodded slowly. For once he did not argue. He walked back to his car before he got in. He looked once more at the mansion, then at me. I did not wave. After he drove away, my father exhaled. Are you all right? I watched the empty driveway. Yes, and I meant it, not healed, not untouched, not unchanged. All right. I pushed Noah's stroller forward. The wheels moved smoothly over the stone. At the threshold I paused. The last time I left this house I had carried my son through rain while people who should have protected us watched. I had thought I was walking away from a home. I knew better now. A home was not stone, gates, portraits, or family names. A home was the place where your child could sleep without being used as leverage, where your name was not erased, where love did not require proof of obedience, where a door closing meant safety, not exile. I looked down at Noah. We are not staying here, I told him. We are just making sure the next woman has somewhere to go. He kicked and smiled, as if that answer satisfied him. Inside, sunlight fell across the foyer. No Serena, no Celeste, no Nathan telling me to apologize. Only space, only air, only the sound of a gate open behind me, because this time, I was not being let in by permission. I was entering by choice.